It's like on The Big Lebowski when the rug just pulled the whole
really
room
does.
together.
It really does. Good morning, everyone.
So I'd actually had that arranged, and you just totally messed with my whole thing.
I did. I really screwed it up. I'm so sorry.
You have disarrayed the tableau.
I did. Hi, it's Todd and Erin Morning Stream. GetPartDaily.com, but you probably know that. If you're watching right now, what are you doing up? We understand. Let's go to the cam.
Okay, Morning Mountain
It's
Cam.
the dark cam.
Yeah, pretty much at
Look
this
at
point.
this.
Look at some lights.
Oh.
There might be a mountain eventually, but right now it is simply
It's
Black
dark.
Diamond Experts, electric, plumbing, heating, and air. Boys and Girl Scouts thing, boy, it just got weird. All the politicians that Weinstein gave money to, that creep from Hollywood, they're all donating it, but it's sort of epic.
Australian women are not to be messed with.
Like a boss.
For sure. All right, so I want to start off really quick before we do that. Our friend has been keeping us updated.
Oh, yeah, what did Lisa
on
say?
Santa Rosa. She has a vineyard up there with her husband, and they've evacuated, 3 times. They spent
The first time they spent the night in the cave, in the wine cave.
in the wine tasting room, which is a cave. A lot of people have caves up there. They're now staying with their friends who have brought them in with their animals, 2 cats and a dog. They've also spent time finding their neighbor's cat because they got to go back for a little bit, and now it's really fluid situation. They've pulled them out again. And here's the scary thing. Well, there's a lot of scary things. 200,000 homes plus at this point. The size of a football field burning in 3 seconds. They are walking down.
It's unimaginable to me to have that kind of speed.
This is in wine country, and this is in Sonoma. And they are walking down the main street of Sonoma, knocking on doors and telling people to get out. This is like 20 times the size of Park City, and people are walking through the downtown street and knocking and telling people to get out as fast as possible.
This is the part that amazes me now that we're on day, 4? And these poor firefighters are moving on to their 3rd or 4th shift without a break because there's not enough people to replace them. And it's like, why aren't we getting more help from the surrounding states sending them into there? Because they're desperate.
They have less than 5% containment. They can't do it with the wind. The dryness and the wind and the fuel.
But they still need more help. But that's the point.
They do.
Though.
The military's gone in with some planes and stuff. Anyway, I just want to keep you updated. She's doing fine, but I think she's representative of a lot of people in that area. But the Sonoma downtown thing, we've been there.
It was so beautiful, and the incredible thing about it is this is acreage where it goes for $1 million an acre. The vineyards are, it's all heart-stopping, beautiful country, and
most importantly, 400 people are unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Cell service is down. They could be with relatives.
Hopefully.
They're going to find a place to start checking in, and they can start knocking that number down, which is what they want to do, and that will happen. But right now, they're trying to stop the city from burning.
And how many are we talking about for buildings? There's
Over 200,000 now. Yeah, it's over 200. Yesterday was 170.
I don't even know. I don't think we've ever seen these
1,700 houses and businesses leveled.
And now we're up to. It's not 200.
Over 2,000.
Okay, you said 200,000. I'm like,
so
that
sorry.
seemed like a lot.
Yeah, so sorry.
I'm glad it's not that bad.
Boy
terrible,
Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Now the first thing I wondered when I heard the Boy Scouts of America say,
"What you gonna do?"
Girls were welcoming you, and you can do the Eagle Scout program and all that. Although, ironically, girls cannot hold any position of leadership in the Boy Scouts. They're going to let you join, but you don't get to be a leader. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of girls, I guess I didn't know this that they really wanted to have the Eagle Scout designation. In the meantime, the Girl Scouts are sitting there going, and that was my first thought: is what are the Girl Scouts thinking? Because this is 2 separate organizations.
Right.
The Girl Scouts have been really well run.
And they start off with brownies,
cookies.
like Cub Scouts, brownies, and then they move up to Girl Scouts.
Mm-hmm. And their cookie franchise has given them over $1 billion a year in funding, so they get to send a lot of lower-income girls to camp.
Darn cookies!
But, both the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts have had declining membership. But I'm still wondering, if I were the Girl Scouts, I would be like, why did you just cut our legs out from underneath us? Because it's like, why would you do that when there was a really well-positioned program in place? What is the game unless you're desperate? And it's interesting because they were really ticked. They wrote out a letter.
Who was?
The Girl Scouts. They put out a letter basically saying we're disappointed in the lack of transparency. We learned you were surreptitiously testing the appeal of a girl's offering to millennial parents. It's inherently dishonest to claim to be a single gender organization while endeavoring to create a co-ed model because of your financial mismanagement and continued sexual allegations. It is clear that you are attempting to shift attention to another direction. They weren't really pulling any punches. The Girl Scouts were really ticked off.
I'm an Eagle Scout.
With palms.
Order of the Arrow.
At 14.
Yes.
I was a campfire girl, so I probably don't even count, but I had no interest in joining the Boy Scouts. To this day, I would not be like, hey, Zoe's got to join the Boy Scouts because she could get an Eagle Scout.
It really depends
It
on...
would really, I guess.
It really depends on the troop that you join.
How so?
Because some troops are sitting around, they sit around wherever, and a lot of them are church-based here. Back east they weren't, but there was a lot of Catholic schools and churches and stuff that they could rent to the Boy
the
Scouts.
depend on
Ours wasn't. We went to a junior high. And there's some troops who went camping a lot. And they did how to pack a pack and how to cook and how to all these things. And there are other troops that just sat around.
So it really depended on who your troop leaders were and whether they were really invested in making sure that you got what you were supposed to at the experience.
And our guys had connections, and so they went out and worked deals with the Army for surplus and got big tents and all this stuff. And we went, we did a polar bear in the middle of winter, I remember that.
That would be fun.
We've done all that stuff, and it really does depend on the troop that you go and find out what the activities are. And, of course, everybody goes, what about campouts? Boys and girls together camping out. Get used to getting along with women, guys.
Who was it? I think it was Stephen Colbert said, let's just stop worrying about the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts and call it what it really is. Kids who have pocket knives and know how to start fires. I was like, well, technically that's close.
You want to see something? When I was a kid, my parents, I think I was 7th grade, 8th grade. And I was kind of a active kid. And they gave me a hatchet.
That seems really naive for Miss Virginia because she was actually pretty sharp on the uptake when it came to your...
I'm mentioning a sharp. Yeah.
The capacity of your behavior.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to show. But this is how, right here, this is how I remember the Boy Scouts. And I have a scar right across here of the sharpness of the hatchet, which I sharpened.
Yeah, Janet, who's a Girl Scout, said, we did all that stuff in Girl Scouts. She said, I don't
Right.
get the change.
Right.
And Kim said the same thing. I was a Girl Scout for 25 years, don't get the change.
Right.
So Marianne's funny. She goes, sitting around singing Kumbaya wasn't my thing. I went to girls' camp and caused nothing but trouble.
Good for you.
My husband was an Eagle Scout. He was an awesome outdoor guy. And so that's cool. I mean,
well, right now,
I guess, I don't know.
There's a curriculum, and I'm not aware of it, but it should involve computers. It should involve all these things. I mean, because typically in my day, it's archery and riflery, rifle, target, pew, that kind of stuff.
Ironically, based on the prepper obsession, though, and although at this point I'm beginning to think they're right, based on the fact that people are more about preparedness and because of disasters and stuff,
Right.
a lot of that training is actually becoming more popular now. Obviously, coding and those kind of things with computers are
Right.
important, but they're actually talking a lot more about that, like children knowing outdoor survival skills. And children knowing what to do.
CPR, swimming, rescue. That's all part of the old curriculum, and I'm sure they're going to use it. But everyone... There's so much to it, and I believe in it, although I will say this. In Boy Scouts, you can identify the predators right off the bat.
Really?
The bullies. You know who they are.
So
right
these are the
off
same
the
ones
bat.
that are going to end up facing charges when they beat someone half to death in their fraternity organization with initiation?
No, but they're the ones who get away with stuff. And I will say, as a little kid, I was 5'2". Yeah, you can identify. I can see them right now. There's 4 of them in my troop. And they bossed and pushed and bullied and hit kids in the troop. There, I said it.
You
So
think
anyway,
that would be part of the leader training? That these are the kind of things that you look out
to watch for?
Yeah. Without question, you would think that would be
So
one
that'd
of the
be the
things.
downside for me.
Although, if I had spotted those bullies, I would do the time-honored tradition, and you had been warned about this, of you're all sitting around the campfire roasting the marshmallows. And they say the one thing never to do is to flick your stick, like if it goes on fire,
Don't
and try to get it
don't
off.
say this to people.
No,
Not the flaming, gooey marshmallow to the
I'm
forehead.
just saying, if you picked the one that was exceptionally mean to little kids, it would be like an accidental. I just got it on his shoulder. It's not like I hit his face.
Have you ever seen this?
It's not like I hit his face. It just like.
My friend had this happen. Kid at the campfire, flaming marshmallow, and it lands right here, and it's on fire.
So it's basically molten sugar hitting you in the face.
There's 4 of us like tackled him and just like
Oh, on the bright side,
smearing it more.
On the bright side, y'all know how to put them out, so that was pretty good.
This is true. And then first aid.
All right, what is Todd's favorite story of the year?
Oh.
Explain this.
Oh, first of all, can I say something first?
Yes.
You yesterday said that you were going to get a flu shot this year, and I wanted to find out. I didn't get to talk to you, and I wanted to find out why. Why this year?
No, I didn't say that. I said I will get Zoe and Zach a flu
That's
shot.
not what you said.
I'm not going to get tracked by the government.
You said everyone's going to get a flu shot.
Except for me.
I
I'm not
always
getting
get
tracked
one.
by the government.
I always
Yeah, and you still
one.
get the flu sometimes. And I have not had the flu since the one time on that airplane.
Let's back up.
When that girl gave me the swine flu because she was coughing in my face.
Let's back this up. I have never gotten the flu when I had a flu shot. I have been the last man standing and taking care of you.
I have had a flu once.
And it was horrible to take care of.
I was on a plane with a woman coughing in my face who had the swine flu. That is not my fault.
Yeah. At first, I gave Erin this bell, so she needed something, and the first time I went up, I took the bell away. So you're not going to?
I don't mind if the children get tracked by the government,
So you're
but
not
I don't
going
think
to?
I
And
need to.
why do they track you? Is there a chip or something?
There's obviously a marker in there somewhere.
All right, let's talk
No,
about
I'm not
my
going to be on their
favorite story.
secret rolls of information. It's not
This is
gonna
my
happen.
favorite story of at least the month. The headline alone says it all.
You're very excited about this. I mean, you read the headline to me yesterday, and you were like trembling with
I'm going to
excitement.
tell you the story. I'm just going to read the headline. Are you ready? Radioactive wild boars in Sweden are eating nuclear mushrooms. Boom. That's all I have to say. Don't even have to tell you the story. One more time. Todd, what is that headline? Radioactive wild boars in Sweden are eating nuclear mushrooms.
Wild boars in the wild.
This is like Sharknado, but with Bornados. This is incredible.
And they've got the
This is like the
tusks.
beginning
Those
of
could really sting.
every Japanese movie with Godzilla in it. Wild radioactive boars. You want to know why?
Yes, please.
And I had no idea about this. I had no idea the fact that Chernobyl, back in 1986 when it exploded, put out a cloud of radiation. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Did you
We
know?
all watched it move. That was the scary part. Yeah.
Did you know that Sweden, central and northern Sweden, was impacted?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A lot of Scandinavia got nailed.
And this is the whole deal. And, you know, we're talking, they talked about fruits and berries and all this other stuff which boars eat. And the thing where it starts getting weird is the fact that
gets weirder?
it gets weirder. There's more cesium, bad stuff, underground than there is on the surface. And so what do pigs do?
They root.
They root. They dig up the soil with their nose, and they eat
a snack.
mushrooms, and they eat roots and stuff like that, and it's got a higher concentration, like twice as much.
Could I see the nuclear boars one more time, please?
Yeah, they're so cool.
I love this picture.
They should sprout wings. If they had
Where's
wings.
the nuclear? There's the nuclear boars.
If you
Those
listen
are
to them,
nuclear boars.
if you listen to them, they go like this, like a power line. So here's the thing. Because of this, they are people.
I guess they're cutting down on boar in the diet. Is my thought.
Interesting. You should say that. They said perhaps you should, maybe not.
Is this like the Utah advisory where we're not supposed to eat fish that we catch in Utah lakes more than like once a month? Because basically they have so much mercury, you can use them as a
Arsenic
thermometer.
and yeah.
Yeah,
You
kind of like
nail
that,
it,
like a
nail it.
guideline.
Yeah, a guideline.
Like a thought.
So
Okay.
what they've come up with, some guidelines on how to cook the meat to avoid cesium getting into your system.
I'm not sure you can avoid it once it's a nuclear element in flesh, is there?
Experts seem to agree. The word seem to agree that some cesium in meat can be reduced through specific cooking techniques.
Okay. What sort of cooking techniques would remove nuclear taint from meat?
Cooking it medium to medium well, or boiling. If you boil it, and this is the part to listen to, if you boil it, it will reduce the radioactive cesium by 28%.
Well, that's all kinds of better.
Hey kids, come on in, we're having boar. Bring Johnny, the one with the 5 legs, in here. Come on. Oh, pick up your nose. Pick up your nose and get in here. Radioactive wild boars in Sweden are eating nuclear mushrooms.
Wild boars in the wild. That is the best headline ever. I've got to be honest with you.
Best headline ever.
I'm not sure we can top that. We could end the show right now.
We
I'm not
should.
Sure. How will we top that?
We should just mic drop. This will make the engineers crazy.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Please don't do that to them or me.
That's
But
my
it's
favorite
true.
story of the year.
It's true. You've jumped the shark. I don't know if we've got anywhere to go from here.
Weinstein. Speaking of pigs.
Actually, thank you. That was actually very good.
Nice transition, huh?
We told you yesterday. This is Harvey Weinstein, who was part of the Weinstein Company. He was also head of Miramax, one of the maybe 5 most powerful people in
Disney
Hollywood.
was actually with.
And as we know now, there was a very long-term systemic use of sexual abuse and intimidation and coercion of women, and there's a history now of payouts to keep some of them quiet.
May I say, to give you an example of this, he would bring an actress into his hotel room and chase them around naked.
Which to me seems like it's a pretty flagrant.
First time they met.
And then tell them something like, "Oh well, you're never going to work if you don't do this."
Don't embarrass me in my hotel.
Oh yeah, the one girl who was wearing a wire after he had assaulted her, and she was really shook. Went to police, went back with a wire on, and he admitted everything. But his main concern was that she seemed upset and that she was making him look bad in the hotel.
Plus, the payoffs have been going on for years and years. And here's Bill O'Reilly similar, Bill Cosby similar, and all these other stuff. And now everybody's coming to light because there is no place to hide anymore.
I'm
guys.
so tired of the systemic abuse, though, of how long it can go on with people knowing and anyway. The important thing is this:
the number was 300,000. He gave to the DNC directly, the Democratic Party, and then individuals as well.
Yeah, millions upon millions to individuals. We already told you yesterday about President Obama and
Clinton's.
He had gone through what he had found, and he went, "Okay, I'm not keeping this money. I'm going to return it." And he actually pulled it from his personal funds because he didn't want to be tainted. And then he donated it to a battered women's shelter, which was epic. And that was our first thought. It's like, don't return the money to him.
Plus,
don't give it back to this creep.
Plus, it was given to them by a business entity of his whatever. And so why would you give it back for his court fees?
And so Hillary Clinton was next, saying she was appalled by his actions, and she's donating the Weinstein money that he donated to her campaign to charity, also another battered women's shelter. Same thing with Dianne Feinstein and Elizabeth Warren and the Democratic campaign
His wife
committee.
has left him.
And it's interesting. This is the only statement I've heard from him so far is, it seems like I need to do some work on myself, and I'm going to go to a sex therapy clinic in Europe. And I'm going to come back with a whole bunch of fresh new ideas. Okay, Dick, this isn't about you getting back into the business. This is about you trying to go to Europe so that you can get away, so you'll be like Roman Polanski and they can't pull you back for prosecution. I really hope they get him first. Because it's like, just from that single statement, it is clear he has no concept that anything he did was wrong. You can hear it. There's no concept whatsoever that there's a problem here.
The question I have is, if you're a guy out there who's done this, and you're in the process of doing this, and you have a history of doing this, aren't you a little nervous right now?
You should be.
Aren't you a little nervous that all this is happening, and now this has empowered the women to step forward, and then you're next, and women that you've harassed and you've sexually made advances of that they did not want, don't you think that they're getting empowered now and they're going to get together too, and you're next?
Well, here's something that was interesting, and I was talking to a couple of younger girls yesterday, and they were going, how could those girls allow that to happen? And I said, you have to understand they didn't allow it to happen. This is the culture, and this was the environment they were in, and they did the best they could to avoid it. And they're like, well, I don't understand it. I said, okay, when I was your age, and I was first in radio, I had a program director immediately proposition me on my first day, and he used to try to get me to give him massages, and he chased me around the boardroom. Todd hates hearing this story. And I basically did everything I could just to keep away from him so that I could build enough of a resume to get to my next job. And so I never ever let him touch me. But yeah, I stayed at the same business. And I didn't even complain to the general manager because back then I would have been fired and the program director would have been just fine. So no, this is a culture that's been going on for years and years and years and years. This isn't the first, and I'm hoping it will be the last, but that when you're in that culture, this is, you do everything you can to avoid it and avoid being in a position where you can be victimized. But for these girls getting stuck in a hotel room, there's nowhere for them to run.
And they haven't protected themselves from that kind of force before.
And you shouldn't have to know how, but
right. But now you do.
So exactly.
So if you've done this, guys, and some women, you could be next. And it's just a matter of time now.
Oh, speaking of which, Ben Affleck. Now, poor Matt Damon got off the hook, although it was interesting.
How did he do that? Because
what they were claiming,
Matt Damon was on Jimmy Fallon last night.
Doing a kind of a lighthearted, fun thing with Chris Hemsworth. Right.
But go ahead.
Which is interesting that he wanted to go into a lighthearted context.
Go ahead.
But no, he was the first one who was blamed for making phone calls and trying to crush a story about Weinstein and the sexual abuse allegations. Matt Damon released a statement going, I was asked to call and just vouch for this actor in the story, saying he's a good guy, and that's all I spoke about. And the writer of the story, the investigation piece was crushed, but she said, no, that was the only thing he talked about. And I didn't tell him any of the investigative aspects because it was a secret. It's an investigation. So yeah, he did make the call, but he had no idea what that was about.
What's Ben about?
But then there's Ben Affleck. He, of course, had been going on and saying how terrible this was and how offensive that Harvey Weinstein would do these
just recently?
Well, yeah, over the last couple of days. He's been joining everyone else on Twitter, scourging him, as they should. Except for, there was one little small problem. There was a MTV correspondent for Total Request Live back in 2001, and if you can put up her tweet, a couple of people put up a tweet yesterday going, well, wait a minute, didn't Ben Affleck grab your breasts when you were on Total Request Live? And this is from one of her fans. And Hillary Burton wrote back on Twitter and said, yeah, and I've never forgotten it. Not ever. She was underage when he did it.
Right.
It's on tape. It's pretty clear.
So what did he do?
So he instantly had to put up an apology and say, I totally apologize to you. I apologize for what I did. It was inappropriate. I sincerely apologize, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But she was underage. She was like 16 or 17. So...
It's crazy.
But but at least the point is this. Even if all the past stuff is coming up now and they have to apologize and they have to face it, good. I mean, if at least gets them into a position where everyone has to start being accountable, then that's a good thing.
The worst I've ever had to deal with is management being bullies and being a-holes. Seriously. As a guy, they would threaten or whatever, or treat you like crap, and you had to put up with that because they were bosses. They now work at carpet cleaning, by the way. And having done morning radio for 20 plus years, I won. So, but that's the male version of this. The male version is that the boss is oppressive and he controls and he puts you in fear about your job on a regular basis. Very similar to this, but without sexuality involved. And so, It is. There's nothing you can do. It is so frustrating. And all you want to see is that person fall. And maybe that's why I'm so interested in this. If you're one of these people and you've been doing this to women, that you're next.
That culture of bullying.
That gives me some hope that these women are going to stand up. And if you've done this, and this has been your MO, for so many years, that, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Amy, same thing. That's exactly it, Erin. That's exactly what happened to me, and I got out. And she said, when it got out, I was the one that was fired. It's a rough industry.
Yeah.
That's so unfair. Okay, moving on, though, because you're right. At least we're seeing some justice, and hopefully that will spread a lot.
And empower other women.
A lot.
Right.
And we're totally behind you. You can stand up and say the truth. I get it, and I'm totally behind you. All right, let's go to Daisy. She's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom. It is brought to you by Utah Approved Credit. Utah Credit Approval, this is an amazing place to go if you want to start rebuilding your credit and get an automobile. 801-404-7201. That's UtahCreditApproval.com. Also, Columbus Travel, they're having a screamingly good deal right now if you want to check out all of their cruise deals throughout the month of October. That only goes to the 21st. Screamingly good deals.
Nice.
Because you'll scream. You'll screech like a barn owl because you'll be so excited because the deals are so good.
Screamingly. Pleasurably. Got it.
Like October, like screaming, like, ooh, never mind. ColumbusVacations.com. Also by Black Diamond Experts. They're experts in electric, plumbing, heating, and air. You will be glad you called an expert. You can go to blackdiamondexpert.com to book a visit to your house to take care of everything for winter. Now, Daisy, my darling, what is going on today?
Thanks, Todd and Erin. Hello, everyone. Here's what's making headlines Thursday, October 12th on GephardtDaily.com. A 4-year-old child was killed late Wednesday night when the SUV they were riding in crashed near 2700 South and Chadwick Street, which is 1410 East. The accident happened just before 10 p.m. Witnesses told Salt Lake City Police the SUV was heading west on 2700 South when it crossed the eastbound lanes and crashed into a tree. The mother who was driving had minor injuries, but the child who was in the back did not survive. Police have yet to determine why the SUV veered into the tree. Their investigation is continuing. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is responding to a decision by the Boy Scouts of America to admit girls into the Cub Scout program and eventually the Eagle Scouts. The BSA leadership announced the plan Wednesday, saying, "The values of Scouting, being trustworthy, loyal, helpful, kind, brave, and reverent, are important for both young men and women." The LDS Church, meanwhile, has released a statement saying the BSA's changes won't impact the Church's existing programs for young girls and young women, nor would it impact plans to end its involvement in the Scouts varsity and venturing programs for young men ages 14 to 18. And a Rio Tinto Kennecott factory worker has died after being exposed to sulfur dioxide gas. The victim has been identified early as 64-year-old Albert Lozano of Santa Quin. Lozano passed away Tuesday night after being exposed to the toxic gas while clearing debris from a boiler early Sunday morning. Rio Tinto released a statement saying the company was deeply saddened by the tragedy and that it had lost a valuable employee. Exactly how the accident happened is under investigation. And now let's take a look at your Wasatch Front weather, where high temps will range in the 50s and 60s the next few days, and low temps will be in the upper 30s. We'll see an increasing chance of rain as we head into the weekend. That's it for now. For more local headlines 24/7, go to GephardtDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
This is the time of year for a lot of people. I had 2 girlfriends call me the other day. They're both divorced and they're kind of running the house on their own. And they're like, "What is blowing out a sprinkler?" And I went, "Where did you hear that?" And they said, "One of the guy neighbors told me I was supposed to do that." And I went, "I don't think it's means what it sounds like it means, so you should probably call Black Diamond." And that's actually why they were calling me, is for the phone number, because there's a bunch of stuff that you do to get ready for winter, and I have no knowledge of any of it because fortunately I have the Todd who knows everything. And then of course there's the anxiety of kicking up the furnace again and making sure everything's okay and there's no problems with CO2 or any other things. Once again, Black Diamond Experts. Now, these guys are licensed, bonded, and insured. They are extremely smart monkeys. They know what they're doing, so they come and they get everything fixed. You're done. You're happy. Everybody's pleased. Oh, and they have a brand new office in Ogden now, too, so they're even closer to you if you need them. Just go to blackdiamondexpert.com. You can book your appointment there, and it is always easy peasy.
All right. Hey, thank you for watching Lindy, John, Kim, Mary, Scott, Jennifer, and MJ. We've told you about our friends in Santa Rosa with the vineyard and how all their friends and stuff are just scrambling. Some of them lost houses and stuff like this. While there's also a wildlife park there.
I can't even imagine.
Everyone had to leave. They were all penned in, and they didn't have any protection except for one guy. 70 years old. He owns the place. Everyone, he helped pack them up. He said, "Get out of here." And I don't know if he lied to them and saying, "I'm right behind you," but they went. And believe it or not, he got his garden hoses out and created a perimeter and all the animals lived.
No freaking way.
Remember,
Wait, the wildfire split around the
2,000 homes are gone, and he protected the animals with a garden hose, which is obviously a situation where it made it easier for him to do that. Here he is. There's a
Look
very
at that sweet face.
very happy giraffe.
Like, thank you, I'm alive. This is good. I know he started digging trenches, and then he realized he wasn't going to have time to get them together.
Jump. It was going to jump.
So he started just spraying down as fast as he could. But I mean, we've talked about that before with people with garden hoses. That
It's a waste of time, almost.
Well, sometimes they say it helps, but the fact this guy must have just been dogged, just like, I'm not giving up. I mean...
And it's the sparks, the wind and the sparks blowing to another spot and lighting it up. Maybe
77 years old.
77 years old. Oh, yeah.
No,
That's crazy.
They lost their home and their vehicles in the fire, but they said all of our animals survived and all of our employees got out safely, so we're happy.
And he's been the caretaker of the animals for a long time. So that's something good.
So they're like his children. That's so cool. See, there's always something good. For instance, Christopher's. We wanted to say thank you to you because this has been like the weirdest ride ever. We weren't sure video podcasting would work, and apparently it's worked really well because we're up to almost 2 million views.
Since we started the show about 7 months ago.
Which is weirding us out. So our big thank you to you is with meat, because that's really, let's be honest, that's the best way. So we send you and 3 friends to Christopher's Prime Steakhouse. If you've never been there, you were in... The first time I walked in there to pick up gift certificates and talk to Melissa, I'm like, I've forgotten how beautiful this place is. She goes, you've probably forgotten how good the steaks are. And I went, no one can ever forget
What I
that.
like is the fact that it's not snooty, but it's very elegant. It's elegant, but without the...
Like, you didn't know what you're doing?
Like, oh, you don't know what that wine is, eh?
No, they're wonderful.
So, yeah, so you're going to love it. So all you have to do to register...
Very simple. Just drop a comment. We're talking about Christopher's right now, so if I see you drop a comment at this time, no matter what time of the day you're watching the show, I'll see when you comment about Christopher's. If you do, you're automatically entered. So all you have to do is drop a comment on the Gephardt Daily Facebook page, Gephardt Approved, or the Todd and Erin page here on the show today, and you're approved. It's that simple, and then, of course, we will draw a winner tomorrow.
All right, Jana, Farah, Leslie, Angie, do that. We want to give someone the incredible experience. What do we have coming up?
Coming up, some intense stuff. We've got a great weekend planned, and Daisy's got one of the creepiest horror films of, like, all time.
Oh, my God.
That you can see again. It's a very rare showing.
That's coming up next.
Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. Fink and McGregor, mortgages made simple. Make sure you go to fink-mcgregor.com and try out their 4-minute mortgage program. It's incredibly easy to find out whether you qualify. The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is actually available anytime at GephardtDaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
All right, we're back. It is the oh so beautiful Daisy. Hi, Miss Daisy.
Look
How
at
are
this
you?
table.
Todd has created a tableau. Now,
This is indeed a tableau.
we don't have a tableau on your desk, and I'm a little displeased. I know that you have to have a more serious presentation in news, but come on, you can have a pumpkin.
I think we should have a serious tableau, like a kind of newsy tableau of some sort.
I'm not sure how I know how to arrange a newsy tableau. We might have to go on Pinterest and see if
Oh, that would be cool.
see if there's anything extra.
So Tanya was asking, are these mums or sunflowers
Mums.
on Facebook? I think they're mums.
They are
right?
mums.
Do they smell?
Mums don't really smell, but they're very pretty.
I like that smell though.
Is
You know
it?
that kind, it's not sweet. It's kind of like a
More of like a
sort of
crispy thing?
spicy, crispy smell.
Oh, I like that.
I
See?
like it.
Perfect. Oh, you realize it's the pumpkin spice week next week.
Oh my gosh!
Where we're
yes.
tasting all things pumpkin
Oh
spice.
god, I can do that. What's the worst one?
There's a cappuccino that somebody actually threatened to hit me after they tasted it. So it's going to be a intense week of pumpkin
Okay.
spice.
Are we doing it every day?
Yes, I think we have
Oh
to.
my gosh! Okay, good.
Every day.
Good. I'm into that.
Good.
I'm into that.
That'll be fun.
Try me. Let's see.
All right, so this is going to be a really fun weekend. One thing I
Yes.
really liked is they're doing, the Cancer Wellness House does a Breast Cancer Awareness Month for their fall boutique, and this is where they raise a ton of money. These are for low-income women to get mammograms, to get screenings, and for treatment afterwards.
Cool.
And so this, to me, I'm totally going to bop down and see if I can find something oh no, I'm going to buy somebody else's crafts and pretend they're my own. That's never happened before, ever.
That's a great idea.
I always do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 10 a.m. to 4, and it's going to be Saturday, Cancer Wellness House in
Saturday.
Salt Lake City. And there's food trucks. There's all kinds of things. It's free to go and have fun. But like I said, they're doing a big chunk of donations to the Breast Cancer Awareness Fund, and then also they treat so many women there that they really need the extra funds.
So what have you got to lose? It's a great thing to
Right?
do on Saturday morning. Get yourself some food and crafts.
I know, and then you buy crafty things and pretend that you don't have hot glue guns all over your body, which is usually what happens to me.
Oh God, crafts are just hard. They're hard. And they take too long.
I can arrange other people's things. It's just having to create it myself is where I suck. Tell me how you found this.
Oh, my
I didn't think
gosh.
they'd be doing this again.
American in Paris, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I've actually seen. It's been a busy week. I've seen 2 shows in the last. So I saw one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday. Tuesday was An American in Paris at the Eccles. Which is it was so good.
Really?
So it's a new it's a new musical based on the 51 film that had Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
But it was on Broadway. It won 4 Tonys. My favorite thing about it was the set design, which won a Tony. It's
gorgeous.
Gorgeous. And
I'm so excited.
It's really good. I mean, really good. It's like watch it. It's basically like going to Broadway, but here, And
So you get to dress up and look cool and shave your legs, do the big shave for one night. It's worth it.
Yeah, and it started Tuesday and it's going through the 15th, so Sunday. And I want to say, I'm not totally sure, but I want to say there's at least matinees on Saturday and maybe Sunday too. It's really nice. It's really worth going to. And that's Eccles and it's Art Salt Lake is for tickets. And then last night, so I saw this show Mercury. Have you heard of this?
No.
Mercury. I saw your niece as well at Salt Lake
Mary
Acting
Helen.
Company. Really good show. It goes through. It opened yesterday. It goes through November 17th, and it's kind of a great show for Halloween. It's like this kind of weird, like hyper realistic show about kind of neighbors and problems with your neighbors and what happens when you decide to get revenge.
Oh man, I hate these. I always get really paranoid after I watch this stuff.
It's really
Because I always assume I'm the neighbor they're going to kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really good. So, and very Halloween-y. So,
so Mercury.
Mercury.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so creepy.
And the other thing that was cool about it is it's super creepy, but it's really funny too. So you're
Those are the best
creeped
kind.
out, but laughing.
I'm laughing and it's creepy, so I don't know if I should be laughing, but I am anyway.
And we had a couple of women next to us. They were, those lovely people who I think they don't know that those people on the stage are real people and that you can actually hear the audience. Because they weren't whispering. They were like, oh, she's so funny. Oh, look. Oh, blood. Oh. Jay and I are like, Slack is small and you can hear
sound does carry
everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And so that was great. I was amused by that.
That is
too.
so blasted funny. I love that. All right, talk about Nosferatu.
Oh, Nosferatu.
I'm so excited for this.
So excited for this. It's Friday, October 13th. So many good things about this.
Friday the 13th.
Friday
Yes,
the 13th. It's free at the library at 7. And it's, I think it's Utah Film Center. They're putting on, look at him. Look how creepy.
Okay, if you've never seen the original Dracula, this is Nosferatu, and it was incredible. Look at him. This is like one of the film classics of all time, and they had such a hard time getting copies of this that they've been showing it less and less and less and less. And so
yeah, and what happened? Well, I didn't even know this, but Stoker's
same hour. Okay, sorry.
Oh my God, no, it's amazing. So Bram Stoker's heirs sued over the use of this.
Yeah.
And said destroy all the copies. And then there was a few that remained. But I think this is 1923.
Yeah, this is criminal that they wanted to have copies of this destroyed because this was epic.
Yeah. So I think that subsequent Fridays up to Halloween at the library, you've got free, is it silent film? Yeah, classic horror films from the silent era.
which is the best. I mean, seriously, it leaves so much more to the imagination, so you can terrify yourself appropriately.
Yes.
In all the best ways, so that you're haunted for the rest of your life.
And I think Nosferatu is one of those kind of buzzy, kind of almost like a niche horror film, you know, like Freaks or one of those. But I mean, it's free. It's at the library. Like,
It's epic.
take Zoe, freak her out completely.
She's been damaged enough already.
Yeah.
I might have to hold off for this. That might be
It
next Halloween.
It might be grown ups.
Yeah,
like
it might be next
Nosferatu.
Halloween.
But
Yeah.
amazing. Doesn't that sound great?
Oh, I'm excited. That
I'm
one I'm
excited
dying to
too.
see. We
Yeah.
have to have a date night for that one. Okay, and by the way, free is always good. There's one movie that's coming out of note this weekend. Everything else is kind of like, eh. It's Jackie Chan, and it's basically like Liam Neeson's Taken, except for with Jackie Chan. Have a look.
I have no more family.
Bye, Dad.
Careful crossing the street.
Tell me who killed my child.
I work for the government. I do not work for terrorists.
You used to work for them. You would tell me the names of the bombers.
Wow.
Okay, there's London.
Jackie Chan, he looks very severe and like there's zero sense of humor.
I feel ambivalent. How do you feel about
It has
this?
evil Pierce Brosnan. How can you not love this movie?
Okay, it has evil Pierce Brosnan. I really want to see it.
And even if it's angry Jackie Chan or happy Jackie Chan, there will be epic stunts.
Yeah, epic stunts. Okay, so it, you know,
Right? I mean, you can't really go wrong with Jackie Chan. You know, it was really weird. I didn't realize this. I was reading some about his history because he's such a delightfully cheerful person and he's so happy. And he's been married forever and ever and ever. His fan base was so rabid in Japan and China, they actually had to keep the fact that he was married hidden. Because girls actually committed suicide when they found out he was married. That's how intense the adoration was for him.
wow.
Can you imagine the fanboy base for this poor man? So
Wow.
he is beyond like God status.
Isn't that kind of funny?
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, it's very interesting.
And I only got a chance to interview him once, but he is absolutely one of the most charming men.
Is he super nice?
And because he's very small, he does all of his interviews on his tiptoes, so he must have like the Achilles tendons of like iron.
How small is small?
His IMDb profile says he's 5'7". I think
So he's 5'5".
I'm 5'6", so I'm guessing 5'4"-ish. Yeah.
Oh, tiny little Jackie
Yeah,
Chan.
but you know that you're in acting. I mean, everybody's smaller than you think they
Oh
are.
yeah, especially Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Oh, he's a petite flower, except for Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, who are just as tall
Are they
and
super tall?
beautiful as you think they are. Yes. As a matter of fact, when Tom Hiddleston does interviews, he actually spreads his legs and sort of scoots down like that, because otherwise everybody has to be put on the box to interview him. So it's really sweet.
I see Benedict Cumberbatch as being tall too. Wouldn't it be disappointing if you were like Benedict and then you met him and he's like 4'9"?
He's
You're
like
like,
five. He's like 5'11". The only problem with him is he insists on wearing ridiculous little hats for interviews, so you can't even focus on him. Because I was trying to focus on Doctor Strange and interview him, but he was wearing a ridiculous little hat tipped back on his head, and I'm like, all I could see was the hat, and he was trying to talk about Marvel. I'm like, that is the
What's the
stupidest
deal with the
hat.
hat?
Right?
Why is he doing that?
Don't you when men do small ridiculous fashion statements? And you're
Yes.
like, I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Trying to be kind of different and just don't do it, guys.
Don't wear the ridiculous little hat.
No,
We'll have to judge you silently.
He looks like an oddder in a ridiculous hat because he looks like an oddder in the first place.
Let's be honest. Even if you're Sherlock Holmes and you're Doctor Strange, if you look ridiculous in a silly little hat, there's nothing the modern man can do.
No,
Really?
I agree.
Yeah. Let's just move past it.
But I will say, we're going totally off topic here, but I will say, if you can rock a hat, then wear a hat. Because if you are cool in a hat, you're cool, right?
You know, that really is. Don't you admire people who can wear hats with a flair?
Yeah.
Baseball caps is about as far as I've ever gone.
Jay looks good in hats.
Does he?
He does, yeah.
That's a
and
cool thing to
yeah,
carry.
He rocks them, yeah. So
I'm not sure Todd really rocks hats. Do you rock hats?
I do.
I could see you.
I do.
No, you wear like
yeah.
the little pillbox ones with the
yeah,
netting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wear hats.
So you're a hat couple.
We're hot. Yeah, we're super hot.
Okay, so once again,
I knew there was a joke at the end of that tunnel.
taking us wildly off topic and made me laugh until one of my ribs splintered. So it must be the end of the weekend with Daisy and Erin. I love you so much.
I love you too. Yay.
We'll be right back. And there's interesting now, after this whole embarrassing firing, there's new guidelines for police at the University of Utah Hospital. No surprise there.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com.
So, Jeff, you do mortgages, right?
I do.
How do you do?
Well, you go to our website, 4minutemortgage.com, fill out the application. We'll call you within one business day. The whole thing takes about a month, start to finish.
We went to the bank
They got really personal.
and went through all of our personal records and all of our finances.
And then there was that little deal about the $8,000 closing costs.
Took like 4 months.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right, so this goes to the back room. Richard, I'm making coffee. It's you, Ben. I'm sorry. I stole it from downstairs.
Is Richard a coffee snob?
Listen. Yeah, he's whimpering.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, so I had to clean out the pot too because somebody left it on. There's like black crusty stuff on the bottom.
You're making this sound more and more appetizing. I can hardly
So
wait.
it might taste a little soapy. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I'm so glad I don't
New
drink
guidelines at the hospital, the University of Utah Hospital, because of Mr. Payne, not Detective Payne,
There is a level of irony in his last name, don't you think?
fired for roughing up the nurse for no apparent reason when she was following the protocol of the hospital, where you cannot do anything to a patient if they were knocked out in a coma.
And could not give consent.
You
yeah.
have to have consent. So she was following the rules. She got arrested. Everybody knows the story by now. They have come up with...
By the way, I was all over all the international news yesterday that got fired. It's like, I always hate it when we hit the international news and the national news for like the bad things. It's like, we have really nice things here you could cover, but no. So in any case, so they're a lot stricter now about what you're allowed to do.
Read that. Please.
Our nurse was dutifully following the appropriate detailed organizational process to protect her patient, and we are very proud of her actions. This is from the U Hospitals and Clinics CEO, Gordon Crabtree. They say that we've promised we'll do everything in our power to prevent something like this from ever happening again. So it's interesting. They have a new policy now where you cannot even deal with anyone other than the actual administration of the hospital.
The policy outlined with proper procedure for law enforcement activity, including drawing blood warrant service evidence collecting at the hospital. What they must first do is they must get there and they must call customer service, the customer service office, who will then dispatch a representative of the hospital to the scene.
Customer service?
Customer service. My coffee was cold.
Okay.
Oh, there's a cop here. He wants to take blood from a guy in a coma. And so basically, equally to of courtesy and consideration and dignity for our patients.
And
Which
also
is what
not
it should
roughing up
be.
any of our nurses anymore, because we would like that.
The feds are involved in this, and I believe...
Tell me why.
I'm not a news guy. You know that. Generalize everything.
Why are the feds involved?
I believe last year, or the year before, something was passed that protected hospital workers from some sorts of actions. And I think that's what this is about.
And this violated
I
it?
think so. Don't trust me. Who are you trusting?
I want to know who
me.
the guy in the white shirt is. We've all seen this footage a million times now where there's one employee from the hospital that
Right.
stands right next to her wearing a white
Oh,
shirt.
and he's trying to help
kind
her,
Of a
kind
slight,
of,
kind of
yeah.
a slighter guy, so
Yeah.
he could get, pretty much curb stomped by the police. And they're dragging her out. He's the only one with her. He's the only one from the
Stand
hospital
with her.
standing
That's
by her.
him right there.
Yeah, and that guy. And the university police simply stand there and open the door so they can drag her screaming through. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be protecting her? Because she's
Well.
an employee of... Yeah, but it's the University of Utah's district, their division.
Well, now Mr. Payne, not Detective Payne, Mr. Payne was also present, who was present is his supervisor, who has been demoted because he didn't step in and go, "You're crazy."
Yeah, for a good. For
And
very
Payne
good
worked
reason.
worked for the department for 27 years.
Well,
Cumulative knowledge.
I don't know. Let's move on to Daisy. She's in the Gephardt Daily newsroom. She is brought to you by Fink and McGregor. If you go to fink-mcgregor.com, you can find out all kinds of different options for mortgages. Did you know you can get a mortgage with a credit score as low as 600? It is true. Also by the Vein Clinic. Look, varicose veins are going to be part of your life. Why not get rid of them now? And this isn't in the scary ways that your mom had to do it. So make sure you go to theveinclinic.com. Once again, theveinclinic.com. I'm going there, by the way. And all Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's that time of year when you probably need John's help for something, so this would be an excellent time to give him a call. You can also reach them at allutahplumbing.com, 24-hour emergency service. Daisy, my dear, what's going on in California right now?
Good morning, Todd and Erin. Hello again, everyone. Here's a look at national and world news for Thursday, October 12th on GephartDaily.com. California Governor Jerry Brown says wildfires burning throughout the state could cost taxpayers tens of billions of dollars by the time they run their course. The death toll in California has now risen to 23, while 600 others remain unaccounted for. 3,500 structures, including homes and businesses, have also been destroyed. No word yet on when fire crews will get a hold on things, as high wind warnings remain in effect across the state. Another day, another menacing threat to world peace coming out of the Korean Peninsula. The U.S. is upping the ante this time, dispatching the USS Tucson to attack submarines in South Korea. And a second submarine is on the way. They'll be taking part in some in-your-face naval exercises with South Korea's military, designed to thumb its nose at North Korea. The USS Ronald Reagan, one of the nation's most advanced aircraft carriers, will also take part in the training mission. And don't look now, but another possible hurricane is brewing in the Atlantic. Tropical storm Ophelia is gaining strength and is just 4 miles per hour short of becoming an official hurricane. The storm is located about 775 miles southwest of the Azores, and forecasters say there's a good chance it will never make landfall. Ophelia would become the 10th consecutive storm to become a hurricane this year. If that happens, it will tie a record set in the late 1880s. That's it for now. For more headlines from across the country and around the world, go to GephartDaily.com.
He's going to run right into it.
Thank you, my dear Daisy. All right, all Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Oh, we got to show you this. You ready? In 3, 2, 1.
John,
Todd,
how are you?
how's it going again?
This is our new best friend.
Right. This is the new 97% efficient furnace that we put in, so we want to take care of it.
So if you do maintain it, how long will this last?
I believe if you do maintain it properly, I mean, it really uses specialty tools.
Right.
We're going to go over that. Anywhere from 18 to 25 years.
What? At high efficiency.
Right.
And it'll pay for itself almost,
Oh,
right?
Oh, completely. Right. It's bought your next unit by then. So this right here, we're checking through the vents for CO levels.
Right.
Carbon monoxide. If that shows me anything,
not good.
We got a problem.
All right, so where do you go? If that sets off, then you're going to go into the combustion chamber. Huh? Yeah.
That's right. You've been paying attention.
I have.
And along with that, so then we use the computer analyzer. I like the back rack. At any rate, that goes into our combustion to measure the efficiency, how many parts per million of CO it's putting out, and really tells us how the equipment's running. From there, we can adjust using this tool. This will hook up to the gas valve. Now this one's modulating, but many of them, you hook up to the gas valve and you may have to adjust that to get it dialed in just right.
So you get the efficiency. All right.
And then before we're cleaning, yep, we'll get to that one in a second.
I love this one.
So it's running. Now I like to check my motors. How are they amping? Check through, are we getting proper power at places? Things like that. Then the final thing is I shut it down, and now we're gonna visually check.
Yeah, I love this thing. Look at this.
Our camera.
It's like a medical device.
So we use
very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thank heavens the other one's smaller. At any rate, so we use our camera.
Right.
Here, have that.
Go ahead.
Now that is a quick check. Then the last thing we've got to really visually. So we'll sometimes go through the top. We'll pull the blower completely out, crawl in there and really check the chamber. And now at that point, we know that this thing is safe.
Right.
And it's adjusted for the winter to get through the whole winter. That doesn't mean maybe a problem couldn't happen. It can't. But it's safe. We know that you're, again, going to get through that winter
alive.
And and it's going to be more efficient. And that we really like that.
All right.
So that's what we do.
This is the thing I think is funny. You got all this high-tech stuff.
How do you like my, yes, this one. This is my most important tool. No, really. Actually, if the homeowner, kind of whatever, you'd kind of dust things off. And yes, I do use cleaner on it.
That's crazy. All right.
Really get through it.
So you're going to do a good job. All right. So do you have an offer you'd like to throw out there?
We do. So what we're doing this for is $69 fee. We come out. We do everything we just talked about. Check everything. Make sure we're good. Along with those things, there's many others. There's airflow. There's lots of things that we didn't discuss, but we have other videos about it. But $69, call for details based on maybe where you're at or when you want it done.
Right.
At any rate, just give us a call and we'll get right on it.
So just give them a call, right? All Utah Plumbing, Heating, your best friend, and air. John, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, so
John,
this
such a
is going
character.
on in Salt Lake, South Salt Lake.
This is South Salt Lake, and this is a little scary. One of the reasons why police take these kind of reports seriously about peeping Toms is because it tends to be an escalation. If you take a look at like a timeline of a sexual predator, peeping Tom tends to come into an escalation phase where the next thing is actually assault.
Okay.
But here's the weird thing.
Because a lot of people kind of kid about a peeping Tom. They always have that lighthearted thing.
No.
In Back to the Future, his father was up in a tree with binoculars. So they make it kind of zany, right?
Yeah, well, in this particular case, no. And this is the weird thing. This guy's targeting one particular apartment complex, and they've spotted him at least 5 times.
Really?
But he can get in and out with anyone catching him. And it's gotten to the point where police actually had bloodhounds. I mean, this is how seriously
they brought the dogs in.
Where they were actually trying to find him with dogs, and he still got away. So it's a little weird. It's the Mountain Shadow Apartments down on 7th West. He does it in usually the early hours of the morning.
Right.
But another woman woke up, screamed her lungs out because he's standing there in her window watching her.
Right.
But it's the weirdness of it that they can't seem to catch him. But it's always that one apartment.
Yeah.
It's really strange. He's 5'5" inches tallish, mid-20s, shoulder length, dark curly hair. They don't know his nationality, but if there's anything you see around that area.
What is the area?
And once again, it's South Salt Lake. It's about 38 South, 7th West. But why that particular apartment building? And they've only caught him 5 times. It probably is a lot more.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
All right.
All right, so keep an eye out because
All
that
right.
is creepy.
Coming up, someone in a wheelchair does something that no one else can do,
Coolest thing ever.
and that's coming up.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
Okay, I've been waiting forever to tell this story. It's like you and your nuclear bore story.
Understand this.
This is my story for the whole morning. Because when you have the definition of badass, I'm sorry, I'm going to say the word, the sheer definition of the word badassery, this child's name comes up. She's 13 years old, Lily Rice.
Right.
Now, she hasn't been able to move her legs because of hereditary spastic paraplegia, which is a degenerative disease that you essentially can't use the lower half of your body. So she's been in a wheelchair for a long time. Well, she's 13 years old. And she just barely posted this. One weekend, 6 hours, and I nailed a backflip on Ramp World. Super stoked.
Whoa.
She just set a record-breaking backflip in her wheelchair.
How did they get her going?
Look at her do that.
Oh my gosh.
Now, there's only one other woman who's ever been able to pull the stunt in a wheelchair, and that was Catherine Beatty, who's a 31-year-old from California. But she's 13 years old.
So there's a huge ramp on the other side that you cannot see on the right-hand side.
And she does.
And she comes rolling down it, and she goes and hits
she
the
does the
kicker, the kicker, and goes into the foam.
Now, she's from Wales. She's only been doing wheelchair motocross.
What?
Wheelchair motocross for about a year. And once she raises enough money for a new motocross wheelchair, she's hoping to compete in the World Championships in March next year. Like a boss.
This is the kind of stuff
13 years old.
This is the kind of stuff that puts people in wheelchairs.
But I absolutely love this about her, that the fact that she has never allowed it to define her. At 13 years old, that's maybe the last thing. You know what I could do in this wheelchair? I bet. And wheelchair motocross?
I know, right? That's awesome.
I'm so in love with you right now.
You know, it's so
Lily
funny
Rice.
because with the bikes and the stunts they did with bikes and stuff, the first person to do a backflip, it was a big deal. And these guys got hurt like crazy.
Well, I think we've all learned that from Ghost Rider.
Then they did motorcycles. Then they do a double on a motorcycle. And then they did snowmobiles.
We never got that one.
I saw one of the fail videos, and the beating these machines took. It was like destroyed.
I didn't do all that good either, so that's good.
Gosh, I mean, crazy.
I showed Lily's picture to Zoe yesterday, and she went, "I'd like to try that." And I went, "No." But I'm glad that you at least see her as a cool female role model.
Exactly.
All right, new phone scam. This is irritating.
This is they always follow a pattern. Rocky Mountain Power calls you. It's not them. It's not them. And they say, you better pay or you've fallen behind. And if you don't pay, we're going to turn your power off. All right, so what they do is they target small businesses and old people. And what they do is they call businesses, they call them during a very busy part of their day. So you have less time to rationalize what's going on, and then you give them a credit card number, which is not good. And then they claim, and Rocky Mountain has come out and they've made a statement as well. But so basically what happens is you give them the credit card number, they run it, they take your money, and off they go.
And especially with the elderly, that's the scams that target the elderly always piss me off the most, because it's like, really, is there any lower than you can sink? I mean, because there's not.
So basically, when they say, when they call, they're saying, I am part of the department, that disconnection department. I am part of the disconnection department. That's not even, they didn't even try to come up with a department.
That sounded official enough.
I'm calling from the No More Power department. I'm calling from the Toaster Won't Work department. You got a dark house department.
You can keep pushing the button on your TV and it's still not going to work department.
The no TV department of no juice.
By the way, Rocky Mountain Power did release a statement saying, look, if you were ever in arrears on your payments, we send you a series of 3 letters. Then we actually have someone come to your house and knock on the door. If you're not there, they leave a door hanger on your door saying, hey, we're super concerned.
Right.
We're going to have to turn off your power by this amount of time. And then they do yet another visit trying to tell you before they actually disconnect anything.
And we've discovered this through all the different challenges that we've had, is the fact that Erin actually has. It's the fact that the electric company will work with you. They will. They'll say, okay, we're going to catch you up, right? And they were great, right? And they're like, okay,
you can do smaller payments. We'll get this working.
Let's do that. And some of the other utilities,
all
it's
of the other utilities work with
except for the water company.
You know, the one for the city that you pay for with your taxes.
The water company, a bunch of A's.
They're like, we don't care. We don't care if
Erin
your children die.
and that was the thing. Yeah, on this bill, we just want to get an extra month, and we'll make it up. Hello.
Isn't that funny?
And then they show up in the front yard, and I've seen this in other houses too, not ours. And they just come out with one of those T-bars, and they start flipping the hatch open. You're like, excuse me, what
They've never shut our water off.
No, but once they got really close, and they got the neighbors too. They shut it off, and they didn't lock it, so I went and turned it back on. Because sometimes they're too deep. You can't get a lock on it because it's like 48 inches deep. And turn it back on for him, and then turn it back off. And the guy came out, and he turned it back on. Screw you, the man. Water company, not nice. Not nice.
Overshare.
Not nice.
Oh,
okay. Too much criminal activity.
All right, this is pretty cool. I'm excited about this. The music hackathon. If you haven't heard about this is Red Bull.
I don't understand.
Red Bull's like the richest company in the world. As a matter of fact, one of our neighbors does all of their extreme sports things, and he's like, yeah, they'll just give you a chunk of money, say, go come up with some strange new sport. And he does, because Alex has a brain like that. But they're doing something really cool. It's called Hack the Hits. It's a 48-hour hackathon where you have to design and build a playable tech music innovation.
Okay, so wait a minute.
So you're bringing
it's
all
not,
your...
It's not a negative hack.
Well, hack has a different connotation now. It's
Right,
not hacking into
right.
someone's program. Hack is actually, it's like life hacks.
Like cleaning out your gutters a new way.
Yeah, it's
They hacked it.
It's shortcuts. It's ways that you can put things
DIY.
together again.
Okay.
You must be in an institution of higher learning here in Utah, have some kind of skills in software and coding, obviously hardware hacking and music creation. Now, if you would like to, they want you to submit a bio video that maybe includes some highlights of one of your past projects. The fun thing about this, though, is they do this all over the country. I mean, like prestigious places like Carnegie Mellon and MIT. They're going down to San Francisco, and what they'll do is they're focusing on Utah. They will fly you down if you're one of the contestants, and you'll do it there. And there's 3-member teams with an expert mentor, and they've had some really huge people. I mean, it's really amazing. So, and of course, if you win the hackathon, you get a buttload of money
And some more Red Bull.
Major cred, and it's really
So you'll
cool.
never sleep.
So anyway, go to redbull.com, go look for the hackathon. You can also go to hackthehits.redbull.com, hackthehits.redbull.com. But they're really, really pushing for contestants from Utah. So
They're trying to make up for almost killing people. You know that, right? You ever seen the BMX bike things that they do?
I know.
They go up on a ridge, and they have GoPros all over the guy, and he's going, and the ridge is this wide, and it drops off like this, and it drops off like that, and he gets up, and then he drops 30 feet and lands, and then 30 feet, and it's just like, you got to be hyped up on something there. Red Bull and something.
I got vertigo just watching that video.
Right.
That was amazing.
All right, so I want to say that there are strong women in Utah. There's pioneer stock, and that's a beautiful thing.
We're sturdy
And
here.
in Maine, they live through the winters. They're incredibly tough.
They harvest lobster and they hew rocks from the soil.
California, not so much. Because it's all sunny, and why strain yourself? There's a beach. But I'm going to take you to Alaska now. Alaska.
Are you talking about Australia?
And I'm going to take you now to Australia. That was a nice trip. Australia women.
I'm sure the Alaska women are very sturdy as well.
They'll
Delightfully sturdy.
They'll eat a seal and wear it as a coat. So Australia, the women there they will eat a dingo. They are so tough.
All of my girlfriends who live in Australia, and I'm close to several of them now, their greatest point of pride is we have more things that can kill you in this country than anywhere else in the world.
So a lot of houses...
They're always talking about spiders and snakes and stinging things that fly and sharks in the ocean. And
So a lot of the houses that are on the shore, on the rocky shore, what they've done is they've built a pool. And the water comes in from the ocean, and as it goes out, the water stays in the pool for that tide, and then it comes in and changes the water out, and so you get to swim in the ocean in this big rock pool, which is kind of cool. And you'd think, how relaxing. Watch this Australian woman.
I'm going to just narrate this a little bit. This is Melissa Hauthier. She's swimming, and if you take a look down there, you will see a shark underneath her. That is, by the way, a 7-foot shark.
Watch. Just hold your breath right now. She's like, I wish I could do an Australian accent.
Look at her.
Just
Look
picks
at
up
her.
a shark and wait, watch
Shucks
this.
it over the seawall. All right, this is what she said. She said, well, really, it was kind of like a toddler. It was a younger shark, and there was not a problem throwing him over. I just sort of dived on him, put my knee on his fin, and grabbed him around the neck and thought, sweet, he won't be able to get me. So she did, of course, just
Australian women.
She said once the shark was released into the pool, into the water, it swam away quickly and released. Yeah. And people have been saying this is legendary, and everyone from Australia is like, that's totally what we would do.
You know why the shark did that?
Why?
He's afraid she was going to eat him. That's it. You guys have a great day. It's the Todd and Erin Morning Stream.
Look at her. I love
on
her so much.
GephartDaily.com. Are you kidding me?
I love her so much.
Oopsie daisy. Ta-da! You guys have a good day.